Hello friends, this video on friction part 8 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So now the question is, we have always seen so far that friction is always trying to oppose motion. So some people are still not convinced that friction is something really useful. But yes, friction is absolutely necessary, because without friction we will see that a lot of things cannot happen without friction. So this is where we say that friction is a necessary evil. That means on one hand it is necessary, and on the other hand it is against us. It is not good for us. So we will look at both the advantages as well as disadvantages of friction. So first let us talk about why and how is friction necessary. It helps us to walk. Just imagine, had there been no friction at all, you are walking on a completely smooth surface. Even if you spill a lot of oil on the floor and you feel that the surface is extremely slippery and you are not able to walk, but even that smooth surface is not perfectly smooth, because perfectly smooth surfaces do not exist. But on slippery surfaces itself, you are not able to walk. So how will you walk on a surface without any friction? So it helps us to walk. So when it helps us to walk, it definitely helps us to run and jog and do all kinds of movement. It helps us to hold things. We are able to hold objects because there is friction. There is some force which is preventing the object to move. Otherwise, if there is no friction, what will happen? Here in the picture you see that we are holding a carrot. So the carrot will not remain within our grip. So it will always continue to move. It will not feel like coming to rest ever. Stop a moving object. Had there been no friction, an object which is moving would have been moving forever. It would have never stopped. It helps us to start or stop a vehicle. So if you see the vehicles, like moving vehicles stop, or vehicles which are at rest, they start moving. That also happens because of friction. Because you see, initially when you apply a force to make an object move which is at rest, so initially it doesn't move, because the force of friction opposes its motion. But after some time, the force of friction doesn't increases any further, and then the object starts moving. So without friction, all these things will not happen. It helps in grinding. So you would have seen that for cooking various stuffs, you grind spices, often you grind vegetables and all. So all these are possible because you have a mixer grinder in your place. And that mixer grinder, if you see, that movement which happens inside the machine, that happens due to friction, because if there is no friction, that movement will not happen. Helps in construction purposes. So when you talk about big constructions, so everything starts from small things. So you want to hammer a nail. So for that also you need friction, because if there is no friction, the nail will not get into the particular object where you want to hammer it. You will not be able to hammer it at all, because everything will slip off. So you will not be able to do it. So there will be no construction. It helps us to write. We are able to hold the pen or pencil because of friction, and due to friction only we are able to write. Like if you take a paper which is completely oily, so do you think that you are able to write on it properly? You are not able to write on it, because the friction is less in that case. Makes matchstick ignition possible. We are able to light a matchstick. You would have seen that you take the matchstick and then you just rub it on the sides of the matchbox. And when you rub over it, friction produces heat, and that heat produces the fire. So that's how we are able to light a matchstick. So all these things might appear to be small, but if you look at it, without friction, the machines will stop working, because inside every machinery you have a lot of movements taking place, and they would have not been possible without friction. So if there is no friction, the existence of living organisms will also become very much difficult, because when all these things will not happen, how will we exist? But at the same time, friction can cause troubles as well. So let us look at some of the disadvantages. It opposes motion. So that is the first thing. It always tries to stop, or it always tries to prevent the movement of an object. So any object which is trying to move, friction will always try to bring some obstacles in the motion of that object. Friction produces heat, and heat results in wastage of energy. What is heat? Heat is nothing but a form of energy. Now, I gave you the best example. So, heat is a form of energy. So, I was telling you, right, that if you rub your hands together, for quite some time, and you can feel that your hands are warm now. That's because a lot of heat was produced. What is heat? Heat is nothing but a form of energy. So due to friction, unnecessarily a lot of heat energy gets wasted, and we do not want to waste energy in any form, because energy is precious and we are constantly trying to find out new sources of energy. But here, because of friction, we are unnecessarily wasting or losing a lot of energy in the form of heat. Wear and tear of machinery parts, as I mentioned before. Also, if you look at any type of machine, starting from small machines like a drilling machine or a washing machine or a big machinery in a factory or industry, so each of these machines will have a lot of different parts which are being joined together. So the construction of those machines have been possible because of friction. So the machinery parts are able to move, that is also because of friction. But at the same time, due to those friction, a lot of heat gets produced. Now, due to the loss of energy or due to this friction, the machinery parts tend to get damaged over time. So, in order to overcome that frictional force, more power needs to be given to the machines so that they are able to do their job. It is something like this. Let us suppose you have your toy car. There is a force of friction acting in this direction, but you want to make it move in this direction. So you really need to apply a greater force than the force of friction so that the car moves in this direction. So in a very similar way, these machines, they already have a lot of friction involved within them because of their movement, because of their construction. So when you want that machine to do a particular job, when you want that machine to have some sort of movement, so you need to apply a power, or you need to give sufficient power so that it is able to overcome the frictional force. So that means more power needs to be given to machines. So that is also a loss in one way. Noise produced in machines, a lot of noise gets produced, and that is also due to friction, because when two surfaces in contact with each other, they move with respect to each other, a lot of noise gets produced. So there are a lot of disadvantages associated with friction, mostly with regards to machines, and that is why industries and factories. So that is how friction can cause us a lot of troubles in terms of machineries being used in industries and factories. And because looking at the advantages and disadvantages associated with friction, it is termed as a necessary evil. That is, on one hand, it is extremely necessary, because without this, again, we cannot do our daily activities, we cannot survive. And on the other hand, because of so many disadvantages, mostly due to wastage of energy, wastage of heat, it is also termed as an evil. So friction is a necessary evil. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.